Hey everybody, welcome to this advanced video training on advanced patient magnetism, where you're going to use prospect magnets, where you're going to elicit micro commitments from patients, and then you're going to deliver your core service, and in some case services, depending on how many services you have. Now, first of all, attracting patients to your clinic involves marketing. It involves using a combination of email newsletters. It involves using a combination of ads that you use in different publications, asking patients for referrals. But when you get someone calling your practice for the first time, how do you make it a no-brainer for that individual to come to your practice? First of all, you've got to start using what I call prospect magnets. Now, a prospect magnet is an educational device. It could be an audio CD, it could be a book, it could be an ebook. It could even be a little thing that costs you a couple of dollars, something like a pedometer, something that's useful for patients to have in their day-to-day lives, something that's educational, something that's valuable, and something that makes patients go, wow, this practice is giving me something. Remember, I mean, if you as a business owner, you probably get a lot of stuff in the mail. You get free pens, you get maybe free stickers for your practice, different promotional items when companies are trying to solicit you for your business. Now imagine if you're the patient and you're being given some sort of an educational resource, what I call a prospect magnet or a prospect stimulator. What's happening is the patient now, the framing of your practice in the patient's mind changes completely. Having the patient approach you and perceive your practice as being different, better, going above and beyond compared to other practices is the only way to set yourself apart in the new economy that we live in what I call, the new Medicare economy. Now, once a patient calls your clinic, what you've got to do is simply tell the patient, we'd like to get your mailing address because we'd like to send you something at no charge to you. What this is going to do is this is going to help you get healthier, help you get relief from pain, and help you get better faster. There's no charge, no obligation, and we'd like to send this in the mail to you. So all I need is your mailing address. Now what that does is that not only builds some goodwill for you in the mind of the patient, that also allows you to get a full patient record. My definition of a full patient record is having the patient's first name, last name, the patient's full mailing address, and if possible, the patient's cell phone number and email as well, so that you can stay in touch with the patient through an email newsletter, maybe through a physical newsletter, through occasional text messaging. Obviously, the patient can at any point in time ask you to stop communicating with them, and if they do that, you have to respect their wishes and stop. But don't be concerned about that. Staying in touch with the patient, providing the patient consistent value, whether it's educating them about their rights, whether it's helping them get access to their medical records, whether it's educating them with valuable content, that is the way you attract patients, and that's what prospect magnetism, that's what prospect stimulation is all about. Providing upfront value without expecting anything in return. I mean, this video, for example, is an example of a prospect magnet for me. I'm building these videos so I can educate and empower business owners, private practice owners like you, so that if you ever need software, if you ever need EMR software, marketing software, business coaching services, hopefully you'll reach out to our company. You can contact us through any one of our websites. So as you can see, prospect magnetism is all about creating value, delivering results in advance so that you build momentum, you build goodwill, you attract the right kind of patients to your practice. The days where a patient just called you and then came to you because they were referred by a doctor or they were referred by an insurance company, those days, the times are changing. What you now need to do is position your practice by giving away valuable educational resources so that you can attract more patients to you. Obviously, there are several other ways, but I'm a big fan of educating and empowering patients, and that's what prospect magnetism, prospect stimulators are all about. So once again, a prospect magnet or a prospect stimulator is essentially a free, high perceived value educational resource that you give your patients. So number one, attract patients to your practice. I call it advanced patient magnetism using prospect stimulators. The second thing, have patients make micro commitments. Now, what's a micro commitment? A micro commitment could be one of two things. Number one, a patient actually pays your practice cash for something valuable. It could be something as simple as pay $5 or $6 for a set of exercise bands that you walk away with so that you can exercise at home. A patient that comes into your practice for the first time, get them to make a micro commitment. There are two types of micro commitments. Number one, get a patient to buy something so that there's an actual transfer of cash. There's an actual transfer of money which translates into value for the patient. And I'll tell you how important that is in just a moment. And the second thing is, the very fact that the patient has come into your practice, or the very fact that the patient is scheduling an appointment on the phone, that's an example of a micro commitment. So when you get someone to make a micro commitment, you're bridging the gap between the actual prospect magnet, which is designed to attract them, and the patient being a full-blown patient coming in for visits, getting value, getting better, and ultimately referring other patients, which we'll talk about later. So the gap between the patient magnet and the prospect magnet and the actual happy patient, your human billboard, if you will, that gap right there is a micro commitment, or to be more specific, a series of micro commitments. When an individual makes a micro commitment to your practice, they're saying yes. And once you get someone on the path to saying yes, psychologically, they're less likely to say no or change their mind. Once a patient requests or gets access to a prospect magnet and you offer them something else, the patient can now come into your practice and get perhaps a DVD on exercise. All they have to do is pay a nominal handling cost for the DVD, even if it's just $5. If you have to mail that individual something else, you can charge a $5 shipping and handling fee. That's an example of a micro commitment. Getting the patient to schedule an appointment and come in, or for that matter, even trying a free trial of some of your other services, assuming you have other services. All of those are examples of micro commitments. Get your prospects to make micro commitments so that they become patients. In fact, get patients to make more micro commitments. I'm not just talking more visits. Think of other ways the patients can engage, whether they come in for a patient appreciation day, whether they write you a letter expressing how happy they were with their service, whether they contact their physician and thank their physician for referring to you. They might even start referring family and friends. Make your patients make additional micro commitments so that they become better patients. So I hope that makes sense. So number one, attract patients by offering patient magnets. Number two, make patients go and prospects go through micro commitments so that they become better physically, because that's what they come to you for, but more importantly, they become human billboards for your practice. A patient has to be nurtured. Every single patient has tremendous potential to refer you more patients, and that can only happen if you have patients make a series of micro commitments. Remember, when patients come to you, they're at a point A. Now you get them to a point B, which is they get better and now they get discharged and you get paid. But that's just the beginning of the story. From point B, you can actually go to a point C, where the patient now becomes even better. And more importantly, that patient now becomes an amazing referral source for your practice. Most practices go from a point A to point B, but then after that, it's just, that's the end of the story. That's what I call, the linear discharge. The truth is, patients have an exponential value and you're just scratching the tip of the iceberg when the patient is discharged. So after you deliver the core service, don't stop communicating with the patient. Continue to stay in touch with the patient through email newsletters, through printed newsletters, send them updates from your EMR system, have some sort of a patient portal through your EMR system so that patients can not only communicate with you through their portal, they can keep track of upcoming appointments, they can keep track of, they can even exchange medical records with other providers, they can connect wearable technology into the patient portal so that they can keep track of their health and fitness. That's exactly what the federal government wants. The whole objective for the federal government in order to lower healthcare costs is to make patients responsible for their own health. And the way you make a patient responsible for their own health is you empower patients with powerful information, not just about their condition, not just about the benefits of what you have to offer, but also about their rights and their responsibilities and what they should be doing. It's all part of optimizing the value of a patient by making the patient better and delivering maximum impact, a life-changing impact to the patient's lives. And I'm sure, and I know in fact, that every single one watching this video is doing that. Thank you so much for watching. In future videos, we'll talk about optimizing the financial value of the patient and transforming patients into massive referral sources to completely change and alter the future of your practice. Thanks so much for watching.